Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? It's Yashin195 coming at you with another Black Ops 6 old school gaming commentary. And in today's episode, are you a corporate bro? I saw a brief video on social media about this guy who just did this kind of song ready for the Friday weekend ahead. And it just was like a corporate bro memes. And I was like, holy hell. This is like a thing that applied to me, and kind of in the sense that I was a corporate bro. And I guess it's kind of like a phenomenon right now where just in any kind of different industries out there, we're talking about people that just work in some giant corporation, particularly like in a big city or not. And it just kind of took me back to when I was working like that, in the sense that you just feel like you're working for the weekend, and you kind of come to Friday, and a lot of people are also feeling like that as well. And I was just like, man, what do you do if you kind of step back and, you know, realize when you look back at your life and your position in that moment, and you're like, holy crap, I'm this guy now. Like I'm a corporate bro. Is this what my life has become? It kind of reminds me of Rick Sanchez when he created this robot butter that just only delivers butter to him. Only delivers butter to him. And the robot's just coming out and is like, what is my purpose? You deliver butter. And the robot just looks out at himself and says, oh my God. And he's like, yeah, welcome to the club, pal. And I was like, that's the kind of feeling that I got when I just saw that video. So if you are kind of like stuck in it and are blissfully unaware that like this is happening to you, and you're like, oh my God, like I'm just working and I'm here and whatever, and it's all good. And just, you know, I'm just taking a paycheck. That's, you know, a nice thing to have, I guess. But then later on, I think it happened to me like maybe like 1 month in where I was like, oh my God, what am I doing every day? So I'll give you a little bit more personal context of kind of the feelings that I was going through, and how I kind of realized that maybe I should kind of leave essentially and get out of it, because I just didn't want to feel like that anymore. Because the problem with the corporation, and to give a bit of devil's advocate, is there is actually a lot of good things that can come about from corporations. It's a gigantic machine, a huge powerhouse wheel that delivers a lot of things for us that, you know, maybe you might not know of, but like everything from, you know, mining, oil and gas, all the way to like pharmaceuticals and food. There are some little good things from an economical standpoint, so I'm not going to argue against those. But from a kind of bit more of a spiritual, or like a what am I doing with my life standpoint, they can kind of eat away at your soul, and you do really feel like you're a number in a kind of a big corporation, because that's the advantage of corporations. They treat you kind of more like numbers to kind of just churn you out and keep the wheel going, versus say like a smaller company that's owned by like a handful of individuals or a family, where you feel a bit more like a person and you kind of have more personality or character input into that. So I was working for this gigantic kind of global corporation that was in consulting, and I came from a chemical engineering background, and it was looking after like oil and gas offshore assets. And I was like, okay, cool. This sounds interesting enough, and you know, maybe a bit more, you know, engineering kind of experience to come with, you know, working on some offshore oil and gas projects. But I quickly realized that it was kind of like a glorified data entry position. And I'll do another video on this, but like consulting in general seems to be a little bit more focused on, I guess, spreadsheets and a little bit of BS mastery, in the sense that they'll find clients and they'll be like, hey, we need your help on this. Can you help us out? And then you'll be like, yeah, sure, we can do this. Then you come back to your team and like, hey, does anyone know how to do this? You know, like, it's not like we'll say no, we'll just like figure out how later. And like there are exceptions to the rule, and they might know exactly how to do something that they've done thousands of times before. But I often found it seemed like a bit of like we'll figure this out as we go. And kind of like for me being a graduate, like I was very unfamiliar on some things, and so I was tasked with like helping clients while also realizing that I was being trained at the same time, and kind of put me in an odd position in that sense where the client would know that I was in training, yet I was trying to help them out with the problem, yet I was meant to be the expert. And it's just this weird conflicting situation. And now my managers would be like, it's fine, like whatever, that's why graduates only get paid this certain lower rate, so we bill you a lot more hours so you develop those skills and learn how to do it. And I'm like, okay, just you're getting the client to pay for my training, really. Anyway, so like 1 month in, all this stuff, what was crazy is that like I come to this job and you wear like the corporate outfits, you got to look nice at shirts and nice shoes. And sure, that looks, respectable as, you're kind of maturing and growing up as an adult, and, and it's like your new uniform essentially from school to like something corporate-y. And I go there and like the office is so quiet, and like you just hear this sound of like clicking of the keys, the typing, and just clicking of the mouses, typing on the keyboard and clicking of the mouses. And it's just like generally like dead. And I don't know if that just like I understand like what was I really expecting, in the sense it's an office and that's the sound of people being focused, like fair enough. Like it's them working and everyone's doing something, which is great. Yet something about that environment, because it felt so stale, I think it just felt cold and dead to me. And it just was like, man, I was a bit like, what have I walked into? And it just felt like, I don't know, wasn't the fun vibe that I had. For instance, like comparing it to like school, a classroom has like, even like a quietish classroom has like murmurs and kids kind of still having a bit of fun while they're doing their work. And, there's the focus still, but like they're still like, able to concentrate and have a little bit of a giggle, and then you'd have a break. And then, you'd hear like, you'd be walking through the hallways and stuff and hanging out and stuff and talking. Like a school felt so much more alive. But like the office just felt so dead. And then I go to my computer desk and I sit there, and I'm also typing away the keys and clicking on the mouse. And I was just given like this gigantic spreadsheet, and I was given a bunch of like reports and tasked with kind of cataloging those reports, because basically there was a bunch of offshore oil and gas assets, and they needed to kind of like, they were using spreadsheets, but then they wanted to like kind of transfer this, into like a bit more a manageable online system, where like a software would be able to like, you type in the asset and it'd pull it up and be like, yep, here's all the history on this particular asset, and here's all the safety inspections done on it. And you don't have to look up some spreadsheet, you just go to the software and just type it in, and it's a bit more cleaner UI and all this stuff. Like I get it, it's a bit more efficient. It's like a bit more of a fancier, glorified spreadsheet, just a software that takes it. So I was kind of cataloging their reports into one giant spreadsheet that then we would import into this software, and then it would just boom, collate all the information into this gigantic bundle, and then we give that to the client. And it's like a lot of just copying and pasting. And like I was like, what am I doing here? Like, how did I get this data entry position, and like cannot someone else do this? Can AI not do this better than me? I'm very confused here. And I understood that there was a lot of like the position itself isn't glorified or nice and fun and spectacular at the beginning. It's not going to be interesting. You're going to be doing the boring grind work because guess what? You're a graduate. That's the expectation. And everyone kind of told me that, and I, to a certain extent, I kind of am like, yeah, look, I'm willing to do the boring groundwork. I have to earn my place there. I can't just come into this new freaking environment, new job, and be like, I'm going to do the cool stuff. I'm going to do the cool shit. Here, check this out. No, you got to earn your place, work your way up. And I respect a level of grind to a certain extent. But when, I don't know if it was just that soul destroying, because to me, I was like, every day I was going was like going to hell, in the sense that the boredom and the feeling, my mental capacity, what was the wear and tear that was happening on my brain was going down, and I just felt so drained by the end of the day. And I really started to resent going to work every day, and coming into it, I'd just look for excuses to not do stuff, and I'd go to the toilet 7 times, just to sit there and mindlessly scroll and get the dopamine fix that I could from Instagram and Reels. And holy crap, looking back, what a waste of my life. What a waste of time. It's scary to think, and I know that I wasn't helping myself, because it's just a negative spiral. You just you start thinking I hate this job, and then you start not looking forward to it, and then you start looking for things that are distracting you, and that's not all on the job. That's kind of me as well. Maybe the environment around me was conducive to that and kind of made me get to that, but still I'm there, my reaction to things, I still take onus on that. But I just couldn't do it, in the sense that I remember going to the bathroom so much just to watch Instagram Reels, and it's just despicable. And then I'd wait until the earliest clock off time that I could go. I would try to get there early and just waste the first hour, so then I could leave at 3:30 or something. You know what I mean? I'd become there at 6 to 3:30 or 6 to 4. I'd go on a lunch break. Sometimes I would test to see does anyone notice I'm gone? Is anyone missing me? And I'd push instead of 1 hour, I'd come 1 hour and 10 minutes. I'd get a 1 hour lunch break, but I'd push it that extra 10 minutes to see if someone would notice. I'll go into more stories of my corporate life, but holy crap, just if you're feeling like that, I think ultimately realize that something needs to change. And after 4 months for myself, I just was looking for new jobs and ended up quitting because I just couldn't hack it. And maybe I'll do a part 2 to this video. I'll keep this nice and brief, but if any of those stories resonate with you, I want to hear them. Tell me about your life in the corporate era. Are you going to the bathroom and browsing Instagram Reels? Is that something that happens to you? Because man, it is such a drain, and I look back at it and just feel like, geez, what a waste of my life. That's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.